So definitely a big kudos to my mother because she really fought hard. It was like 4 of us, and yeah, and my mother was literally holding it down from us, being in, preschool until we finished matric, which is what I'm trying to build with my own business, empowering those disadvantaged communities with financial literacy. You don't have to have millions, you don't have to have a financial advisor from whatever bank, but wherever you are, you can start where you are, and if you are empowered to know how money works, then that's the first step towards you having that financial freedom.
And that's the whole point of international development. That's the whole point of the industry, you guys. And that's the whole point of Access Granted existing.
Welcome to Access Granted. Hey guys, welcome back to Access Granted, episode 3 of our launching season. Today is going to be an interesting conversation, a conversation that I think, in my opinion, we don't usually have. Not everybody likes to talk about money, and today we're going to be talking about money. Episode 1, we spoke about international development as an industry. And some of the guests who've already come on the podcast, we spoke about, the impactful work that we do within international development. But not everybody gets to talk about the money side of things. And I feel like we usually overlook that aspect of the work that we do until we run into trouble or until we run into the wall and we need some rescuing. But the guest that I have today is going to help us unpack exactly what that looks like from an international development perspective and why money is important in the work that we do and how you can pursue careers in finance that can lead you into the industry or into the work and career that she currently holds. I'm excited to have a conversation with her. She's one of my favorite ladies, works very hard. Like she will make you feel like you're not doing enough. She'll make you feel like you're doing the bare minimum because the accolades, the hours she puts in, the level of excellence in the office, she's the first to arrive. Literally top tier excellence. And I'm excited to be talking to her today. Welcome to another conversation. If you are streaming us on YouTube, please like, comment, and subscribe, and also share this video with someone who might need it. If you are streaming us from Spotify and Apple Podcast, please leave us a good rating, leave us a comment, a like, and just let us know how we can improve or rather co-create this platform better. Mbali, welcome to Access Granted.
Thank you very much, CD.
Wow. I know you.
What a grand introduction. Honestly, I'm honored to be here.
Yeah.
And yeah, also, you also work hard. I feel like every day I'm inspired by the work that you do.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think...
Thank you, Queen.
As a person, we are very imperfect, but when we apply our minds to things, we can literally achieve everything.
Absolutely.
That we put our hearts to. So thank you for that. And I'm very excited to be here. Yeah. Hi to everyone at home. It's very nice to be here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Excited for this conversation.
Guys, chilled.
Yes.
Chilled, very calm, but a dynamite. I'm excited to have this conversation with you. The podcast's launching season, which is 2026, is anchored on the African Youth Charter, which was adopted in 2006 by African Union member states. For those who are listening and might not still have an idea of what the African Youth Charter is, it is a legal framework that's adopted by African Union member states. Your country, if you are an African young person, your country has adopted this charter, and it's basically designed to guide member states on how they can advance or improve their youth development at national level. This conversation particularly is centered on Article 5, which speaks on sustainable livelihoods and youth employment, which both of these aspects I know are very close to your heart. And I hope you can carry that aspect throughout the conversation we're going to have. And I chose this particular article of the African Youth Charter because I know you've got so much value to bring with regards to sustainable livelihoods and youth employment when it comes to young people of this country, in fact, of the continent entirely. So thank you for making time. I know you're busy, and I'm sure you're already running numbers in your head right now to say, this is probably take number 3, and it's just chowing my time, darling. You're just killing me. But hey, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Mbalenhle is a finance professional with a degree in accounting and completed postgraduate diploma in accounting sciences. She is currently working towards becoming a chartered accountant and is passionate about using finance as a tool for empowerment and transformation. She works for a global humanitarian organization where she supports institutions in strengthening financial management and maximizing impact for vulnerable communities. Through her work, she contributes to ensuring accountability, sustainability, and the effective use of resources to improve the lives of those most in need. Her greatest passion lies in financial literacy, particularly among young people and disadvantaged communities. Mbalenhle believes that poverty is not only a matter of possessions, but also of perception. In her view, lasting financial change begins when people develop a healthy understanding of money, challenge limiting beliefs, and recognize the opportunities available to them. Driven by this conviction, she is building Mbali Finance and Impact, an initiative focused on equipping individuals with practical financial knowledge and skills that can help them make informed decisions, improve their financial well-being, and create sustainable change in their lives. Her mission is to make financial literacy accessible, relatable, and empowering for everyone. That is quite a bio. How old are you again, if you don't mind me asking?
No, I don't. I am 27 years old.
Imagine
and I consider
that.
myself old, actually.
27 years
I'm
younger.
almost 30.
27 years younger. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just a personal, thing. But from my side, definitely, I would say that I'm very passionate about financial literacy because I'm from Orange Farm, actually, which is a community that is very disadvantaged. And I've seen how a lot of people have struggled and lived in a cycle of poverty as well as dependence. Because they find themselves in a certain prison. And this prison, it is not even made up of walls or iron, but it is made out of mindsets, right? And that is the mindset that money is a mystery, an enemy, or a fleeting survival tool. You know, so being from that particular type of environment where if you make it out, most people don't even want to go back and try to, you know, impact where they are to the people that are left behind. People just leave and then that's it. And then you find that the community doesn't develop, the community doesn't become better. So this is my way of saying that you can make it out. It's possible. And yeah, like I said, as people, we all are imperfect, right? But you should try as much as you can every day to become the person that a younger version of you can look at and be like, wow, I can't believe that I've made it that far.
Yeah, that's very important. And I hope we can carry that same sentiments, those same sentiments throughout this conversation, because I feel like you're speaking to my younger self. Because when I was younger, by the way, I wanted to become an astronaut.
Wow.
When I
didn't.
Discouragement, girl.
You understand?
Yeah.
The exploration.
Exactly. When I was transitioning from primary school to high school, my teachers in high school told me that, girl, you're dreaming a little bit too big. And we don't have institutions in South Africa that can offer you that kind of an academic program. So I had to revert to other options. And that's why I ended up studying LLB, because of the exposure that I got through public speaking and debate and the research that came with it.
Wow.
But listening to you right now, I feel like you're speaking to my younger self, and you are giving me the opportunity and the right to dream again. And I hope even as we break down what you do, you can still reach out to that young lady in Orange Farm, you know, so that she understands what it means to study BCom finance and then end up in international development and end up where you are, you know what I mean? But before we get into that, I want to do some icebreaker questions.
Okay.
What's a fun fact about you? I know you know, in Futinje, today you look very casual, but you're always in formal wear, speaking big English. But what's a fun fact about you? What would shock people?
A fun fact about me would actually be that I'm more of an artistic person.
Okay.
That could be shocking, I know, because people believe that when you work in finance, right, you are very strict. You just think in, you know, grayscale.
Yeah.
You think in black and white.
I don't disagree.
I'm a person who loves art. Like, I am a person who wants to be creative. You know, and sometimes finance doesn't give you that 100% platform to be creative, because you are confined to certain like laws, regulations, and how you must do things. You know, there are certain types of frameworks, the international financial reporting standards that you must adhere to, and you can never do something different from that. So I try as much as I can to, you know, be a bit creative in my work, which is why I always advocate for finance, because it is not enough for us to just sit behind a desk. There's so much more that we can bring to, you know, the table in terms of strategic decision making. There's
I want
so
to hear
much that
all
we can
about it.
And you will. I hope I'm not jumping the gun, but
no, please, if
definitely
you go ahead and be free, please.
Yeah.
But I can't wait to hear all about it, because I feel like I'm going to be like
broad.
very
broad.
Because I'm one of those people who've always looked at finance people as desk people, spreadsheets, and that's it, you know?
Exactly.
Always black and white. Like any club, you can't do or think about anything else other than just finance.
Yeah.
So, second icebreaker question is, well, I know money is one of the, you know, few things that everyone thinks about every day. What's the one money myth you believed growing up that you've completely changed your mind about?
One money myth, it's actually what you also said during my introduction, and that is money, it's about what you have in the pocket.
Oh, okay.
Right? Money is actually about your perception, right? When you start to change the way that you see money, the way that you relate to it, your relationship, because at the end of the day, we have to understand that there's limitless money in the world. Money is constantly being printed every single day. So when you put yourself in a position of thinking that, you know, you come from a position of scarcity instead of a vision or possibility, right? Then you put yourself in a certain box where you are exposing yourself to lack. But the moment that you change that perception and understand that money is there to work for me and I am deserving to have my dreams come true, and money should not even be an obstacle or a constraint, because I understand how it works, I understand how to manage it, then literally you'll see all those walls breaking down.
Interesting. Wells of wisdom from a 27-year-old young woman. This is so timely because also we're commemorating Women's Month. So this is very relevant for this month, and particularly because you are a young woman yourself. Last icebreaker question. If you could make every African young person understand one financial concept, what would it be? Would it be the same as the previous one or something different?
Well, it is kind of the same thing, but one thing that I would always advocate for is the fact that those chains, right, those cycles of dependence, as I mentioned, we don't have to be stuck in them, right, because of the lack of money.
Okay.
You can still make it if you use money in an ethical way.
Okay.
If you are able to do things in a way that doesn't expose you to maybe illegal activities or, you know, certain types of risk, you can still make it and make it big just by understanding simple money concepts.
Okay.
You understand? You don't have to put yourself in a position where you are going out doing crime, because I think that is a very constant theme that we see in our African communities. So you don't have to just sell your soul for money, right? You can have a healthy relationship with money, but still doing things by the book.
Yeah. Interesting. So, I mean, you're not talking about if I want to buy like a Louis Vuitton bag or something, right? As long as I'm not breaking the law.
Exactly.
Right? Okay, as long as it's ethical.
Exactly.
Gotcha,
exactly.
Queen. Just like many other people, when I think of finance or when I think of someone who works in finance, I always think spreadsheets. I always think of calculators. I always think of numbers. How would you describe what you do to someone without using your title?
Okay. Firstly, I'll say that finance is not about cold numbers on a spreadsheet.
Okay.
It's about more than that. It's about
Tell us,
possibility. Okay. So how I would describe what I do is basically impacting communities through finance, through accountability.
How do you do that?
Essentially making sure that I show up every day in my work, because somebody else, obviously the day-to-day workings of finance, I think a lot of people can imagine how they are, right? You get to the office, you open up an Excel spreadsheet. I mean, that's how it looks like from somebody from the outside. But when you are the person performing the role, you have that person in the community at the back of your mind, because you understand that whatever you are doing, it can help someone get assistance faster.
Okay.
You see? So I don't want to actually go in detail as to what I do doing the financial reports, debits, credits, because essentially that's what finance is, which is what I also explained, the fact that we are governed by certain types of frameworks and laws and regulations, certain types of legislation that we have when it comes to financial management. But you can find all of those online if you want to. But for myself, I would say that I wake up every day thinking about how can I maintain the accountability of these organizations and make sure that the finance reaches the people that need it the most.
So how does your role influence, decisions that an organization gets to make? And, how is this profession important, or rather, why is it important within the international development industry?
One thing that I always say is the fact that finance, or a person who is part of the finance sector, you are a partner to the organization.
Okay.
You understand?
A partner to the organization?
Yes, a strategic partner to the organization. And beyond just managing numbers, there's so much more that you do. You protect the resources of the organization.
That
right?
You do. Hold that thought. That you as an individual, you do.
Yeah.
So, no, shout out to the organization that you work for, because they are
definitely.
in good hands. I can attest. Yeah.
I mean, you can only, do your best on a day-to-day. But also you help with managing certain type of risks, because there's so many risks that an organization is exposed to. And as a finance person, you need to be able to eliminate those risks by your diligence, right? By ensuring that there is some type of transparency that is maintained throughout. Okay.
Yeah.
And another thing that I would mention would be that you help ensure compliance to these rules and regulations. It's a very tedious thing that you can do. Like, it's a very tedious thing when you are actually doing it. But the moment that you look back, right, when audits come, because then you realize that, wow, I'm glad that I did things by the book. I'm glad that I wasn't, forced into certain type of pressures because of hierarchy or urgency, but I was able to maintain that, to do my job the way that I need to. So you might be shocked. It's very dramatic type of work. But at the end of the day, it's all about maintaining, creating financial sustainability, which is one of the most important things that I like that you do as a finance person.
Yeah. Do you ever experience a level of bureaucracy or red tape with the work that you do? Because I'll give you an example with mine. My line of work, if I want to, I don't know, do something, a mere simple, humble thing, there's a lot of diplomacy that has to go into place. There's a lot of lobbying, a lot of advocacy that has to go into place. And that also includes having to engage with, leadership of various institutions. And that on its own has layers to it. Do you ever experience any level of red tape?
Definitely.
Yeah.
I think also as a young person coming up,
it's interesting that you say that, because in my mind I'm thinking it's finance. You don't really, experience any level of bureaucracy because it's black and white. It's 1, 2, 3 up to 10.
Yeah.
So tell us about it.
No, definitely. I feel like most roles have that, especially the ones that you think are very, especially that you think that are very straightforward. Finance is such an important function in every business. You can't have a business without finance, because there's so much that you need to comply with. You need to comply with the tax regulations. You need your books to be able to, source funding if you want to grow. You need to have that finance person that can help you if you want to, pay your employees, etc. So I would say definitely there's a lot of bureaucracy mixed also with politics within that, because especially as somebody, when you are starting up in your career, right, you have to prove yourself, right? So there's so many layers that come to you blocking your progress sometimes, and that's how you learn. And I think a lot of us want to run away from that part of our lives, but we need to embrace it and keep moving forward, because the bureaucracy, yes, it is there, it slows things down, but for me, in my role, I would actually advocate for it, because those processes, in
I've
as
never
much
heard this before,
as,
but okay.
I embrace processes, because processes are there to protect us. They are there to protect the resources. So the bureaucracy definitely does help, especially when it comes to audits, especially when it comes to you being able to account for certain type of transactions that happen within the organization. You need to be able to say that this went through this individual, and then afterwards it was reviewed and validated and approved finally by this. Yes, we would all love certain processes to be faster.
That part, queen.
Definitely.
That part. My God.
But patience is a virtue. You have to be able to understand that they are there, the processes are there to protect us, and the reason why they are then they were approved, it means that they saw a certain type of gap, and they decided that those processes would need to be implemented to fix that gap. So I embrace bureaucracy, and I try to do things by the book, but definitely if there is a way to make things faster, easier, but still maintain the same level of integrity and compliance, then
that would be helpful.
Yes.
I'm already gauging what a typical week looks like for you. I don't want to assume, I don't want to jump the gun. And if what you've already said already covers it, you can just say so. But I'm interested to know what a typical week looks like for you. What problems are you solving? Who are you talking to? What does a typical week look like?
Okay, so right now I would actually say it's been a bit chaotic.
Okay, we love a good chaos.
Because I've been traveling up and down. I was recently.
Also, you travel as a finance person.
Yes.
Tell us, Queen. I thought you were just part of support staff, and that's why maybe in my introduction earlier I was like, when it comes to finance, it's one of those professions that we overlook, and we only remember when we've hit a wall or when there's we're experiencing a challenge. Then you have to come help us solve the issues. So I'm curious. Tell us, please.
No, definitely. You know, finance needs to be involved from the very beginning.
Like comms,
And
okay.
Exactly. Which is what I always say, right? When I have the opportunity, I will let you know that finance needs to be involved from the beginning. And last year I actually did a presentation that was titled "Finance as the Backbone of Humanitarian Aid," right? And a lot of people were like, "Are you like, this is just an exaggeration? What do you mean the backbone?" But I digressed. I'm sure we'll get more into that.
Please go ahead. You can even link it. Why not? Yeah. If you're already there, sure. Go ahead.
So, yes, you know, without finance, people don't receive the assistance in time, right? If that payment is blocked, if there are certain compliance issues, everything doesn't work. I mean, the reason why we are even able to respond to certain type of things within the, you know, development sector, humanitarian sector, is because funding is made available, right? And that funding goes through certain types of stages, it goes through certain types of vetting before it reaches any organization. And the people that are involved in that is people in finance, right? That's why things like banks, people who, you know, work with money, who control the money, basically control the world. But
You heard it from Mbali.
Exactly. So if you ever think that you're going to leave finance behind, please don't, because literally you are avoiding a lot of issues that could potentially break everything down.
Yeah.
So going back to, you know, how my typical week looks like, like I said, it's been very chaotic. I've been traveling, supporting various programs on the field, you know, where you had to do certain reviews real time.
Okay. Reviews of what? What programs are these?
Yes. So programs that are related to my role, right? So there was a project that was linked to a certain disaster that happened in January, where there were floods.
Okay.
Right?
Disaster, there were floods.
Exactly.
The beginning of the year.
Yeah. So
are you comfortable to disclose the province or the country or?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was in Mpumalanga as well as Limpopo.
Okay.
So what basically happened was that finance had to be on the ground, because we had to make sure that all the purchases were aligning with the financial policies.
What are you purchasing?
Procurement, like different type of items that I needed.
Okay.
For example, the food, right? Where people could get like hot meals, things like that. Okay. So this was the first of its kind.
Yeah.
Where
sorry, Mbali, I'm so sorry to pause you right there, because you're bringing out a very important aspect.
Yes.
Which was not part of the plan for this conversation, but I think it's important for us to bring awareness to the people who are watching and listening to us. So when there's a disaster, usually these natural disasters are climate induced, especially now more than ever.
Yeah.
And so when there's a disaster, in this case, you are referring to a flood.
Yes.
A flood that has been caused by heavy rainfalls. Yeah. And so when there's a heavy rainfall, many things could happen. The rainfall could wash away people's houses. Yeah.
Yes.
Schools could be affected. And if that's the case, it means children are not going to school. It means people don't have shelter. It means people lose their food. You lose literally all the resources that, are essential to your livelihood, right? And so that's what you were assisting with.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
I wanted
yes.
to bring this aspect because it's important that we understand how finance comes into the bigger picture of things. I'm so sorry to pause you, but yeah, continue.
No, definitely, TD.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you brought that point up.
Yeah.
I was actually doing a presentation when we were wrapping up the whole program, and I asked a question at the beginning, and I asked, imagine a family that has lost everything in the flood, right? And what is more important? Is it them receiving assistance now or them receiving assistance after 3 weeks, right? And I think everyone could agree that receiving assistance now is way more important. And I emphasize that that's why finance matters, because we are all part of a certain system and a process. If one part of that process is lagging, right, it affects everything. People that are affected by certain types of, disasters or type of suffering or type of problems that they can have, they need support, and they need that support immediately. So if you can help it, it's best to make sure that whatever you are doing, you are coordinating in an urgent way.
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to digress, but maybe let me not, right? Because it's going to throw you off. So now that's your typical week. So you were in
Exactly.
Limpopo and Mpumalanga, assisting with the purchases, and yes, you
As well as the reviewings of the various documentation, just advising real time that
Okay.
you need this type of documentation for this thing to happen, for this thing to be compliant. Also coordinating with the operations team to make sure that everything was aligned, advising in terms of the budgeting, how are we looking, what are the variances, budgeted versus actual. So it was, and also with the procurement of certain types of items that were needed urgently for
Yeah.
the affected individuals. But yeah, so that has been how my weeks have looked in the last, I think, 3 months or so. But now that is done, as I had mentioned, and now it's just back to the office, where I'll just be going 9 to 5, doing my day-to-day role, which I love. Yeah, I actually love being in the office. If I'm away for
I
too
can
long,
attest to that. You miss the office.
I miss it.
My
and
goodness.
it's a bit, it gives me a bit of anxiety when I haven't been in the office for too long. But I think, as a person, you have to evolve. And if that means that you have to be out of the office, out of your comfort zone, then you need to fully embrace that.
Yeah. Mbali, please take us back to the genesis of everything, the genesis of Mbali, the younger version of Mbali. How was it like when you were younger? We already know that you're from Orange Farm, but what was it like at 5 years old? Take us back.
So at 5 years old, I was actually in grade 0, so preschool. And I've actually been in one school my whole life.
Preschool, primary, and secondary.
Yes.
Oh.
One school.
Okay.
And yeah, like for the most part, I think I had a very normal childhood. Obviously, I was from Orange Farm. We had certain issues because at some point we lived in a shack, then we upgraded to an RDP house, But for my own, I think my parents did a lot of work with ensuring that our minds were protected, because we never saw all of those things, right? We were, I think most people can consider maybe poor or so, but for my side, I would say I definitely went to bed having eaten each and every single day. So definitely a big kudos to my mother, because she really fought hard. It was like 4 of us, and yeah, and my mother was literally holding it down.
Wow.
From us being in preschool until we finished matric.
Wow. Shout out to that queen. Shout out to Mbali's mom. From Access Granted, we wish you a happy Women's Month, queen.
Yes.
You've raised a queen.
Wow.
Yeah. Shout out to your mom.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so she really did a lot for us. And, you know, I can't say that I really struggled, because there are people that are really struggling out there. So everything that happened during my childhood, the lack, that would, you know, come, and, you know, feeling like, because actually, you know, sometimes I would tell my friends that my mother never bought us clothes from like Mr. Price and whatnot. We never knew that feeling of having like new clothes with the tag and everything. But I never felt like I lacked anything, because my mom, literally, she was the strongest type of mom ever. You know, she was literally you know, always reminding us that you have to keep going forward, you have to study, you know, don't be like me. But not only was she saying that, but she was also acting it. And I think that's very important, because at the end of the day, children will always emulate your actions, your habits, right? Beyond whatever that you say. So my mother was a very good example towards us, and that's why we're like, we need to work hard, each and every one of my siblings, right? And now I'm here.
Now you're here, girl. Now you are here, spending 3 months.
Access has been granted.
Access has been granted. Just to that, queen.
No, God is great. But
yeah, access has been granted. Look at you now, spending 3 months traveling.
You know,
I wish I knew your job existed when I was younger. Maybe I would have pursued finance, darling. Who knows?
Tell me about it.
Right?
Because I actually didn't want to do finance.
I was about to ask, did that inspire you to study finance? What happened? When was your access granted moment where you were like, actually, let's take this route? What inspired that?
Yeah. So this, I don't know how many times I've told people this story. So what happened was, in matric, I never did accounting ever in high school or anything like that.
Okay.
Like, I never did accounting. And when I was applying, right, for universities, I remember I wanted to go to UCT.
Okay.
So afterwards, and I was applying for chemical engineering courses. Like, everything was chemical engineering. I think my second option was like nuclear engineering, something like that.
Hey, hectic. Besyo hlangana phambili ne ngibe astronaut.
Yeah, even ngibe engineer,
queen.
And fix your work.
Right.
No, it just shows how much you don't know life.
Yeah,
life is strange.
We have desires and plans, but God decides.
He establishes our way. But yeah, so afterwards, what happened was, I applied and I got accepted to do it. I got raised, got everything in matric. And I remember I had also applied in vet. So because I decided at some point that I don't want to go too far from home. Let me just be closer to home, be here, you know. And I applied also at vet, and at vet also it was the same thing. So I applied chemical engineering and chemistry, things are surrounding that. And I remember my third choice was accounting sciences. So at some point when, the feedback was coming back, okay, I got accepted for it, for all the my first choice, which was chemical engineering for vets. And then I was like, but I don't want to do anything related to finance and business, and I don't want anything. And I fought to remove that option, actually.
Wow.
As my third option, I actually fought to remove it. And I think I was like, I'll put something that has to do with engineering also, chemistry or something like that. And then afterwards, I don't know, I got a bursary, right? And they were actually like, okay, this bursary, since it's from a bank, you can only do it if you do a course related to finance.
Okay.
Right? So at that point in time, I hadn't actually received any funding or anything like that.
Yeah.
I only received NSFAS.
Mm-hmm.
So long story cut short, I was like, okay, let me go for this bursary,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And they actually helped me with applying at UP when it was like 6 days before the schools opened.
What?
Am I revealing things that I shouldn't?
No, please.
But yeah, they actually helped me apply at UP, and like the rest is history. I was able to enroll in UP and do accounting, and when I did it, I was like, wow, I can't believe I ever wanted to do chemistry. What was I thinking?
Yeah.
And that's where my love for finance grew, and I was like, yeah, you can literally plan, but God will always determine where everything ends.
100%.
You understand?
Yeah.
So yeah, from there I was like, I'm so passionate about this. This is so amazing. I never knew that, you know, I could fall in love with such a cause and, you know, type of work.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I can relate.
that is
I can relate because how I got to study law is because, like I said earlier, it was inspired by the exposure to research that I would do through public speaking and debates. And that research exposed me to a lot of injustices in the world. And I was like, there's no way people are living like this. There's no way young people are being treated like this. There's no way women are, you know, handled like this in Africa, you know? So I just became passionate about justice. And so naturally, my second option became law. So I just pursued studying law. But by second year, I knew that I did not want to practice because I did the moot court and I shared with someone who was an attorney at the time. And I was like, there's no way I'm going to be a court kind of girl. This is so boring. I need to be with the people. Give me something, you know? I was like, there's no way I'm going to be confined to these walls.
Yeah.
There's so much more surely that I can do with my degree. And I remember asking God to really open doors for me in ways that I can still practice law, just in a different way and in a more impactful way. Impactful in the sense of working with communities, development work, and so forth and so forth. And so for the fact that I get to draft policies and statutes today is quite a blessing because clearly I needed that legal background and not astronomy, right?
You can say
So
that.
exactly. Is there anything that you would do differently?
I think most of us would say yes to that answer. From my side, I'd say that yes, there's definitely a lot that I could have done differently. Maybe I could have focused more at a certain type of point in my life, you know. I could have, you know, just maybe after graduating, done articles and all that, and not went into, you know, this sector, this humanitarian sector.
Okay, so you would have done articles instead of, okay.
Yes, instead of, because, you know, sometimes you feel like you have certain goals in your life and maybe certain type of actions could have made you reach. I think this conversation really has brought into light the fact that literally you can plan, but God is the one that's going to determine where you end up. Yeah. So whatever happened, yes, it happens. It's on the past. It's in the past. I'm not somebody that likes to dwell in the past, especially at this point in my life, because I realize how much time is an asset, right? Money, it finishes, you get it again tomorrow, but time, you can never get it back.
Right.
So what is important for me is just the present as well as the future. So whatever it is that I could have thought I could have done differently, I'm glad that it happened the way that it did, because it brought me to this point.
100%,
Yes.
right? Will you still serve your articles?
Good question.
Okay. If you're not comfortable to answer, it's okay.
No. So no, I'm not going to. I love where I'm working currently.
Imagine that, guys. Honestly, imagine that. Imagine someone not knowing anything about finance, transitioning into varsity and pursues engineering and then lands at finance eventually, and then doesn't even know that this industry exists even, and then lands here still. And today she's like, actually, I wouldn't serve articles because I'm happy where I am in international development, doing impact-driven work for communities and those who are in need. Shout out to you, Queen, because I know a typical finance person would still be like, yeah, 100%, I'm gonna serve my articles, you know, and make that money, you know? Yeah, because people usually, especially our peers, we still want to make money at the end of the day. I mean, we're making fairly well, right? But, you know, there's just that aspiration
to get more,
right?
Like, it's never enough.
It's
no
never
matter how much
right.
you can get.
So I'm so glad that you are actually content where you are, and you are seeing the results of your work, even just as a finance person. Shout out to you, Queen.
Thank you.
Hey,
shout out to you too.
I've never had such a conversation with a finance person, you know, and maybe it's because we work in the same industry. So when you speak of finance, I get to understand what that means in the broader scheme of things. But imagine for someone who did not know all this information.
Exactly.
Right?
There's so many parts. You don't have to go strictly to corporate.
Right. Yeah.
Because sometimes I feel like there are certain things that are very fulfilling in life. And what I've discovered for my own self is that money is not, doesn't fulfill me. Right? Having more money than what I had yesterday, it's not something that I can say is what's driving me forward. What's driving me forward is knowing that, you know, I'm here in this world for a certain type of period. I have to be able to make sure that my actions can help others. It's very cliche, but we need to leave the world a better place than we found
100%. You know, you remind me of one of my role models, someone I observe very closely and I adore so much. Nomzamo Mbata. Nomzamo has no business participating and contributing towards international development. But she's one of, you know, the key stakeholders in the industry. I mean, she's a successful actress. She's globally recognized. She has no business with development work, to do with development work.
She actually studied accounting.
Exactly. Right.
People who are in finance, literally.
Every time I see Zamo, I'm like, oh, you know, she has no reason to be in development work or be passionate about development. She could literally live her best life and don't worry about what's happening on the other side of things. But because of what you just said, you know, to leave the world a better place. And in my episode, I was talking about the cooperation of stakeholders being a key component within international development, literally every stakeholder coming together to push this agenda forward so that we can realize the dream that we have about our continent by 2063, right? Instead of us just talking about this agenda, 2063, for the Africa we want, without actually talking about what it means to realize the dream or work towards the dream of a prosperous Africa. So I like that.
Yeah, no, definitely. The time for speaking, I think it's done. It's time for people who are going to act.
Yeah.
You understand? We have already the frameworks that are in place. All the information that you can need, you have it at your fingertips, right? Sometimes it's even information overload. But we are the people that are going to actually take a step back and be like, I'm gonna go back home. I'm going to do certain sessions, which is what I'm trying to build with my own business, you know, empowering those disadvantaged communities with financial literacy. You don't have to have millions. You don't have to have a financial advisor from, you know, whatever bank. But wherever you are, you can start where you are. And if you are empowered to know how money works, then that's the first step towards you having that financial freedom.
Yeah. And the many of us, we are in communities, or as many of us that can be empowered at community level, that's where the prosperous Africa actually begins.
Exactly, I agree.
Because if we don't localize some of these interventions, we will come back again at 2063 to have the same conversation.
Exactly.
And that's the whole point of international development. That's the whole point of the industry, you guys, and that's the whole point of access granted existing, so that you guys can be exposed into the work that goes into international development and see where you fit in, and more than enough, I mean, above that, so that you can be inspired to dream towards a prosperous Africa. Because if your community is prosperous, South Africa will be prosperous. If South Africa is prosperous, SADC will be prosperous. If SADC is prosperous, the African Union entirely as a unit, as a body, will be prosperous, because that's our continent, ideally.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I can have this conversation with you for the entire day, right? We can go on and on and on and on. But let's get back to the program, right? So I want to talk about artificial intelligence, yeah? It is changing many professions, including finance. How are you interacting with AI, and how are you preparing yourself for the evolution that's basically already here?
Yeah, the evolution is already here, like you're saying.
Yeah.
And a lot of people can be scared, especially when it comes to roles like finance, right? Because you are working with data, and I feel like AI is taking over the data analysis space. And so for myself, what I do is that I embrace it fully. There's so much that AI is bringing to the table in terms of us being able to perform certain functions faster.
Okay, such as, give us an example.
More, maybe sometimes when you need to break down certain type of information, like to do certain types of analysis. To be more specific, I used it recently because I wanted to do a budget versus actual analysis.
Okay.
And so I did it on from my side, and then I just fed it into AI to help me to understand whether certain figures were correct, and whether what can I improve, what type of tools can I use to make this information more relatable to a non-finance person. So that's what really I think makes me embrace AI more, because finance is a very complex thing. And the thing is, when people start to speak about finance, people just turn their minds off because they see numbers.
Yeah.
Right? So AI helps make that information more relatable, right?
Okay.
You can explain finance as if you are speaking to a 5-year-old. So that's what I use AI for, to translate the numbers for them to be more human. So that's somebody who doesn't understand what are you talking about when you're talking about ROI, for example, return on investment. What are you talking about when you are talking about the certain type of cash flow analysis, NPV, those type of concepts. It's net present value.
Okay.
So I can go more into it, but basically it helps you to evaluate how much a business is worth.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
So it helps you to be able to create those figures or those presentations where people can understand, why should I care about certain numbers?
Yeah.
Right? Trying every day to learn something, maybe dedicate 5 minutes per day to know more about how can I integrate this in my work.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I feel like sometimes AI has actually made our jobs harder. Because we're actually working more now.
My goodness,
for some reason.
someone was, oh my God, say that again. Someone was asking me about AI and how I find it. I was like, oh, actually, I feel like it's stressing me more than actually simplifying my life. So what's the point? Yeah, you can relate to that.
I can definitely relate. Like, a lot of people can actually be like, oh, like, my job is I'm actually working harder now for some reason.
Are you not supposed to just get it
and just be done with it? But now you have to exercise, because you are managing the work that you are feeding into AI, and now your work. So
sometimes it feels like creating a TikTok video.
Exactly.
You know, Bonang said it. Sometimes it does feel like that. Yeah.
But it's tricky also, especially with data protection type of things, especially when you're in finance, you handle a lot of confidential information. So whatever you do, you have to make sure that the information is protected.
Yeah, 100%. You have recently been appointed to support Venezuela with the recent earthquake, was it?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about that? Because from where I'm sitting, I see it as your career advancing. I mean, if Venezuela already recognizes your skill, it's giving you a globally recognized.
I mean, yeah, from Orange Farm to the world.
From Orange Farm to the world, Queen.
You know? Yeah.
But please tell us about it. It is a sensitive topic because, you know, we're not just talking about your career and the impact it is having in those who are vulnerable. But, you know, if a state experiences earthquake, it's quite a serious issue. So please tell us a little bit about it, just high level. You don't need to go into the details and what that actually means, because I know you're supporting them on ERP. I don't know what that is, child. I don't know what that is. Right? Tell us about it.
Abbreviation, but yeah, it's actually project management officer.
Okay.
Where I'm also focusing on ERP. So the project management is actually done on ERP. ERP stands for Enterprise Resource System. Okay. I mean planning. Yeah, planning system. So what that essentially, it's just the system that we use when it comes to us doing the finance processes to make them easier. There's a lot that goes into you understanding how certain information feeds into each other, because it integrates a lot of systems that we have in a business, HR systems, finance systems, procurement, supply chain, you understand? So you have to be able to have that broad overview of how those different types of sub-modules, they affect each other. And yeah, I would say it has been, quite a different type of challenge, but one that I have been embracing daily. When I see the work that the people they are doing to respond to that disaster, or I'm like, I need to be able to pick up my socks, do better, because I'm there to help, and to ask, how can I help you, essentially, because it's a short-term role. So I have really been, learning new things, interacting with people who are from a different culture, different environment, who think differently from me. I was actually even saying that the time zone also, because sometimes I actually have to wake up around midnight or 10 p.m. to attend meetings. So I would sleep and wake up, and then when I enter those meetings, they are speaking a different language. So that's where AI also comes in. Then I'm like, oh, hey, could you please interpret whatever they are saying?
No, Mbali.
And
Hold on, are you telling me you're running on a 24-hour clock?
Literally.
So you do your normal 8 to 5. After
exactly. That, I go, I transition. But also,
what?
I do do some of the work, because when I do the work during the normal 8 to 5 time period, by the time they wake up that side, I have completed most of the tasks, so it makes it much more easier. Then I can be able to follow up, okay, what more needs to be done, what things do I need to do on the ERP system, etc. It's a different ball game, because, and I'm actually happy because I actually want to move more towards operations. So I think this was such an amazing opportunity and stepping stone, right? Because project management literally it's one of the skills that can help you to be able to, tap into that type of industry where you understand how everything works together. To achieve one completed output.
Amazing. If you've watched this far and are enjoying the conversation, you can find the details on how to participate in the description box, whether as a partner, looking for volunteering opportunities, or employment opportunities. Guys, if you want to read more and learn more about the earthquake that recently hit Venezuela, please go into the description box. We will drop a link there that you can interact with and learn more about what's happening. And maybe once you start reading about that particular incident, you can understand now Mbali's role as a finance person in supporting that disaster. So shout out to you, Queen.
Thank you.
So how does a young person who is listening to you now and is like, oh, Mbali is my goals, I want to be where she is, I want to do what she does, how does that young person gain access into the industry or even into your role? Is there a roadmap that you can give them?
My role is very distinct, right?
Yeah.
Because it's not the normal route of when you are done with high school, go to university, study accounting, because that's the normal route. Then you do CTA, which is the PG does postgraduate diploma in accounting sciences. So what that helps you with is for you to write the board exams, right? Because there are 2 board exams, which is the IAC and then the APC. Then you do articles, then you qualify as a chartered accountant, and then you work in one of the big 5 audit firms or at a bank, etc. So, but for you to go into the route that I am taking, I would definitely advise that you do get your certification, because as finance people, when you have a certification, right, and I'm not speaking about you having a degree or honors or masters, no, but for you to be recognized by any accounting professional board, it helps you, it opens more doors, right? That's why when I diverted from the normal route and went into the humanitarian environment, I realized that the qualifications that I have to be able to, upgrade, get some type of certification, which is what I'm doing, right? And then, basically you need to be somebody that is very passionate about helping communities, right? Because I'm gonna be honest, the money, if you're after money, don't come and work.
Why? I think the money is good.
Compared to
Corporate.
the corporate, yes.
Okay.
You understand?
Yeah.
Yes.
But don't you feel like the scope of your work, and this is a conversation I was also having with another colleague of mine who works at the AU. Don't you think that our scope of work, if you were to go to corporate, you'd probably be at a more senior or sometimes even exec level because of just the magnitude of the scope? Don't you think?
I 100% agree. The complexities that come with the role working in this type of environment, because you go beyond the scope of what you have studied or what is also in your job description. You must be hands-on. It's like, I don't know, sometimes I was like, to my colleague, that I wish I could have a clone that when I'm doing this they could be doing that, because, and I think it trains your mind to not be stuck in one type of path or one type of thing that you need to be doing immediately. You can be able to be very versatile, right? It goes beyond being a multitasker.
100%.
Because whatever you're doing, you're still producing those results as if you were just focusing on that thing. So I would definitely agree with that sentiment that there's so much that comes with working in this type of role. I think that's also why I decided to also focus on building a personal brand, because as a person who is in finance, you are just perceived as somebody that needs to be in the office, minding your own business. Like, your light needs to be down, right?
Yeah.
It needs to be dimmed, like down.
Love that.
But I saw that, okay, this will not work for me. Right? You have to put yourself in a position and show that you know exactly what is the value that you are bringing to the table
100%.
with whatever role that you're doing.
So I'm sure you noticed that I haven't even referred to your job title, right?
Yeah.
Because for me, I feel like it's more about the responsibility that comes with the work more than it is about the job. In fact, I don't even know why we have job titles in the industry, because it's all about the responsibility of the work at hand, you know? For example, with me, I wear 4 hats already. So how do you condense that into just one job title? It doesn't
And
doesn't work.
they're all equally important.
They're all equally important, you see. So that's why I always refer to myself as a development corporation practitioner, because that's basically the function I've been doing for the past 13 years. This year I celebrate 13 years as a practitioner, yes, in the industry. So
How old are you?
31, doll.
You started when you were...
I started
18.
working when I was 17.
Wow.
So
see,
it's actually
that's
more than
huge.
it's actually more than 13. But my first real, like, proper, that I can say, my first gig was after high school in when I started working with J&J. When was it? 2018, 2017?
Wow.
Yeah, but I started working at 17 years old with Cotton On
that's
Group and so forth and so forth. Yeah. So, yeah, that's why I haven't even said anything about your job title, because for me, it doesn't really matter. Another thing that I wanted to talk about, Mbali, is the power of mentorship as we come to a closure. The power of mentorship, because I know this is your first job ever, right? After university. Imagine that! And you've done so much. Hey, and again, that's the interesting part about the industry, right? There's rapid growth, there's expansion, and so forth and so forth. But I know it's your first job. And when you first came in, our boss at the time, Dr. Michael Charles, if he's watching this, a big shout out to you, Doc.
Yeah.
We love you down, King. And hopefully he gets to come on the podcast, actually.
Yes, that would be great.
Yeah, so you arrived at the hands of Dr. Charles. And I know he's had, a great impact on all of us. You know, as I'm listening to you speak, I sense someone who's ambitious, who's not scared to dream. And I know that to a certain extent, Dr. Charles did have that kind of influence in all of us, actually. Would you attest to that? And what impact has that mentorship had in you?
No, I'm glad you mentioned mentorship, because, which is what I was saying about the fact that what is the impact that you are doing to change someone else's life, right? So if you are able to touch just one life, that should be enough. And that's what Dr. Charles did, as you mentioned. He was such a great leader, in as much as he was in a very high position, but he would always make it a point to check up, on
he
the
had
little
no
people.
business to be attending to these junior stuff, but what a man.
And I learned a lot, because I remember at some point we would have these leadership sessions in his office where he would, talk to me about what it means to be a leader. You have to, have, emotional intelligence. You have to, make sure that you are considering others, sometimes even before yourself. And you have to give other people a voice and a platform to make their own views and opinions known. It's not about you always hogging the spotlight. And that's what a leader is. You are putting yourself in the shoes of your followers, and you are the one that's stepping up and saying, I will, take you forward in this vision. And that is what I'm aspiring to be, also with building Mbali Finance and Impact. It essentially is kind of like a mentorship program, because it's more about education and empowering people with financial knowledge and helping them to see beyond their circumstances, right? There's a lot of systematic inequalities that we see, a lot of people with very horrible histories, but those don't have to define you. And it takes somebody just put it and letting you know that, wow, you are destined for greatness. And I think a lot of leaders have actually given me that advice to say that, you know, you are going far. They didn't have to say that. And sometimes at that moment, it's the advice that I needed. But when someone can see that small spark, right, that small spark, and yeah, it might take time, but eventually it can become a huge explosion, because now you have reached that full potential of who you can be. So mentorship is something that's very important. Let's not be selfish, with our knowledge. Don't think that if you teach someone, exactly, don't think that if you teach someone else what you know, that person is going to take your position or whatnot. But it actually happens the opposite of that. You are the one that actually can get more, or you go further. If you are able to empower somebody that is, who doesn't have certain type of skills, and you know that you can impart those skills to them.
100%. What is the most rewarding part about your work?
Wow.
Short and sweet.
The most rewarding part is helping somebody else. That is just it in a nutshell. The fact that there's a human behind the numbers. That's what makes it worth it.
And how do you steward your finances? Do you have any financial planning in place? Any investments, girl? You don't need to go into the details, but we need the young people to know that when it comes in, it needs to, you're the one who was telling us, chelete this, chelete that.
So how do you... very broad. It's very broad. But I think for me personally, it's just applying those simple principles to grow your own finances. Because I need to mention that I'm not an actual certified financial advisor, but I love financial literacy, right? It's more, so if you want to know more about me, you can catch me on my social media at Mbalenhle Motsweni. That's where I give the financial tips, different financial tips, different things that you can need to know, and there you'll get a broader context than what I can share here. So please head to my social media, and I'm sure Tidi will also
put
definitely
it in the description. 100%. Please follow Mbali.
We'll take it from there.
Yes, we'll definitely link your details on the screen right now for those who are watching watching on YouTube, and link your details in the description box on other podcast platforms. Definitely, Queen. Yes. In fact, you need to come on. You need to come once in a while on Access Granted to give us financial literacy.
Exactly.
Right? Why not?
Would love to. Would love to. Because we're trying to break generational cycles of dependence and debt and all of that. And you might be surprised how many people are earning a lot of money, but they can't even afford the basics. They buy food on credit, they buy milk, bread on credit. So there's a lot to unpack there. And I'd love to come.
100%.
Maybe we could be a segment, Monday, finance.
Love that. You see, in episode 1 actually of the podcast, in my episode, I was I called everyone to co-create this platform with me, and so this is actually a true testament to co-creation, because it needs to. I would love it. I would love Access Granted to be a platform that's really co-created by young people themselves, so that it brings value to the person who's listening, to the person who's watching, to you as a guest, even to me as the host of the podcast. So if it's a co-creation approach or process that we can do collectively, why not?
Why not?
Right? If it works, sure. If it doesn't, Jesus is still Lord. Right?
That's the best case scenario.
As we close, you spoke about systematic injustices. And I want to talk briefly about the African Youth Charter. It's currently undergoing an appraisal and a review process. And I've taken it upon myself, since the podcast is launching in 2026, when the charter celebrates its 20th anniversary. I've taken it upon myself to just get the perspectives of my other peers like yourself in terms of how far we've come with regards to the charter. You can use the South African perspective. If not, you can refer to another member state. But I want to understand from you, do you think we've made good progress? Do you think we've been successful in not just ratifying the charter, but just its implementation at country level? Do you think we've done any well, or we still have or talk to me.
Definitely there is a long way to go, because for the most part we are still speaking of the same issues: unemployment, and it keeps growing every year. Crime, young people who have given up hope for their lives, and people who have, we live in an age where information is readily available, right? Short courses are available online, entrepreneurship, mentoring, but people are still falling back to the same type of, living that our ancestors were also exposed to. There is definitely a lot of room for growth, but we can only take it one day at a time. And the charter, I believe, it's the first step. At least it can give us, the framework on how we need to do from here on out.
Are there any opportunities? Thank you for that. Couldn't agree more. And there's a lot I can say, but because we're running out of time, hopefully you can come back again on Access Granted to unpack it more. Just as we close, are there any opportunities that you see or think that government, private sector, or development partners can invest in to unlock some of, these opportunities for young people, particularly in finance? It doesn't have to be finance, but particularly in finance.
Yes, I 100% agree.
Talk to me.
There is so much, career paths in the finance sector. Okay, and a lot of people don't know this. They just think that when you're in finance, you just have to go and work in a bank or something, but it's broader than that. It is, you work with different things in finance. I won't go much into detail right now. And that information needs to be readily available in schools, and that's where different type of entities, I'm not just going to put it on the government, but also on private sectors, as well as individuals themselves. They need to go to where the young people are and educate, empower. If you can provide certain resources or a step-by-step guide of where to from here. If you want to know how to be a chartered accountant, you need to do this. If you want to be a chartered global management accountant, this is what you need to do. So though that information, it's very simple. It's very simple for you to get it out there. It just takes you making the decision, which is what Mbali Finance and Impact wants to do, and go to the actual young people where they are. Bring them access to this information.
Please finish this sentence. Access is not something you wait for. It is
something that you take.
Love it. This seems to be a most common one. I love it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Something that you take.
Something that you take. Thank you so much, Mbali, for coming on the pod. We truly appreciate you, Queen. Oh, by the way, do you have a message for the ladies? It's Women's Month. Do you have any last words?
Happy Women's Month. Just know that as a woman, there's a lot that we are carrying. There's a lot that we go through. But, as long as we can be there and supporting each other, we can actually overcome any obstacle that comes in our way. We are strong as women, as I said about my mother. We are very, very strong. Let's keep going and trusting that God will lead us.
100%.
Towards greater heights.
Thank you. Happy Women's Month, ladies. Thank you so much for watching. Because I've exhausted everything that was inside of me, and there's still plenty of plenty more to discuss with Mbali, but we will park it here for now. And thank you so much for listening up to this far. Thank you for coming. I know you're very busy, and so thank you for making time for the young people and the parents who are watching. If you are watching us once again from YouTube, please like, comment, and subscribe, and share the video with someone who might need this information. And if you are streaming us from other podcast platforms, please leave us a like, a comment, give us a rating. Really interact with the platform and help us co-create it so that it brings value to you and to the guest and to everyone who's part of Access Granted. From me and Mbali, happy Women's Month, and see you in the next episode.
Bye.
Cheers.